So let's frog the frog leg. Now I know that this is a controversial opinion, but I don't really like, he looks naked. Hello and welcome to the Faded Wildflower Crochet. My name is Rachel, and today is another episode of Will It Ami, which is a series on my channel where we test out different types of yarn and see if they work for amigurumi. And along the way, you can watch me make a cute plushie. So the yarn we're going to be testing out today is Bernat Fluffee, which is fluffy spelled with 2 E's at the end instead of a Y, which is giving me these kind of vibes, but you know, whatever works. I'm really excited about this today because this is a pretty new yarn, so I'm really excited to see how this works up as a plushie. I've never seen anyone make a plushie out of this before. I've seen some other people test it out for their channels, but I haven't seen an amigurumi with it yet, so I'm really excited to see how this turns out. The pattern that we're going to be testing this yarn out with today is this adorable little frog from Smallberry Studios. I have made this pattern one other time to create this astronaut frog, which I did freehand the astronaut helmet and suit, but the base pattern is from Smallberry Studios, and I already know that I like this pattern, so I'm really excited to be making it again for today's video. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get a closer look at this yarn. Okay, here is a closer look at this yarn, and my first impressions is that it is so soft. If you've never felt this skein of yarn before, it is so soft in the skein. It's really fluffy, just like you would think. And you can see that it does have like a halo. Can you see that? But I am noticing that if I pull at it, and I didn't even pull that hard, it does start to shed. So we will see how that translates over to crocheting with it. If it sheds while we're crocheting, if it sheds while we're sewing, we will see. But it is just kind of a one strand situation. It's not multiple strands or anything like that. It is just kind of one thick, fluffy little strand there, you can see. And this skein does come with 415 yards, and I believe that these are $12. I will correct myself on the screen if I'm wrong, but I believe I paid only like $9. Joanne was having a sale, as they usually do. And I saw different variations of how many colors this came in. At Joanne, I believe that there was only 8 colors, but I think on the Your Inspirations website, you can get up to 12 colors, something like that. So it seems like there are different colors available depending on where you are going to buy this. This is a bulky size. It says to use a size L hook, so we will see about that one. And this color is called Citronella. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm pretty sure I blacked out when I was ordering this yarn because I do not remember ordering this color. And I looked, and I did order this color. This is the color I ordered, but I don't know if it just looked different on the website or if I just got so excited to see a new yarn that I just like ordered the first one that I saw. Now, it's not a bad color by any means, but it's not a color that I am normally gravitated towards. I usually tend to like more like cool tone greens as opposed to this like yellowish green. So I'm not exactly sure what I was thinking when I ordered this, but here it is, and we're gonna make a cute neon green frog with it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on the crochet. Okay, here is where we're at. I got the 2 little feet done and connected. And I did start out with a 4mm crochet hook, and I found that it was snagging a little bit on, you know, these little fuzzies. And so I went up to a 5mm crochet hook, and that seemed to be working really, really well. So I was a little bit worried that this was going to be a really snag heavy yarn because of just how fuzzy it is. But with the right hook size, it's not snagging anymore. So that's great. And you can see that there is quite good stitch definition for how fuzzy this is. Can you see like how good you can see your stitches? I was pretty impressed with that as well. So the thing that I'm worried about the most, just from my first impressions from the skein, is how much the fuzziness comes off if you pick at it. So let's see if it comes off when it's crocheted. Yeah, you can see that the fuzz is coming off. like not, it is, you have to pick at it, but it does come off. So this does make me a little bit worried about giving something made with this yarn to a small child, because I feel like they're going to put it in their mouth, as small children are going to do. And I feel like a lot of these fuzzies will come off, and I'm just not sure how safe that is. So that is something already to keep in mind. We will see how it goes as we continue on. But as far as my first impressions, that does make me a little bit worried. Since I did start out crocheting with the 4mm crochet hook and then switched over to the 5, I do have this one little frog leg here. So let's frog the frog leg and see how it does with frogging. Okay, that's pretty good. It's not really shedding or anything. Oh, it's getting a little snagged there. The fuzzies are kind of like connecting together. So this is not the easiest frog in the whole wide world to do. Yeah, can you see that? It's just like getting snagged on itself right there. So it is a little bit hard to take out your stitches. Yeah, that is something to keep in mind. I'm having a really hard time getting this to come out. Like if I really went in there and tried to like pull at it, I could probably get it off, but it is not the easiest yarn to frog. So that is also something to keep in mind. But as far as working with it, I'm having a good time. It's pretty easy. I like the stitch definition. I like how soft it is. The softness is translating over to the finished piece, which is great. I'm curious if the inside will be a little bit softer. Let's see. Because when we tried the Red Heart brushed yarn, that one was softer on the wrong side than the right side. But I'm really not noticing any difference between this one. Like they're both pretty soft. So let's go ahead and continue on working on our cute little frog, and I will check in with you guys in a little bit. Okay, while I'm working on this, I need you guys' help. I am in a TV show slump right now. It's unfortunate. I've been rewatching all my old favorites. I recently rewatched Superstore. That's one of my favorites. I rewatched Ugly Betty. I guess I was on America Ferrera kick because I love her. I think she's a great actress. I rewatched Parks and Rec recently, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I like a lot of these kind of comedy shows that are still really good with good characters and everything. But I am at a loss right now. I have nothing else good to watch. Now, I know that this is a controversial opinion, but I don't really like The Office. That one gives me secondhand like embarrassment. I get that really easily. I can't watch like really cringy types of videos. I can't do it. It like literally physically hurts me inside. And Michael Scott is just one of those characters where I'm just like, I cannot watch him. He makes me anxious. But other than that, I like a lot of those kind of like comedy style shows. 30 Rock. So give me some suggestions of what to watch next. I feel like there's not even really a lot of good shows like that lately. Like I like the balance between a good like sitcom funny show, but like I said, with good characters that makes you feel like Superstore is my perfect show. So if you have other suggestions like that, I know a lot of people like Abbott Elementary, but here's the fact about me is that I worked in an elementary school a couple years ago. I worked there for a whole school year and I didn't have the best time ever. And so watching that show was a little too real for me. I tried to watch it and I think it's really funny and clever, but I was like, this is giving me like flashbacks to when I worked at the school. And like I said, it was not like the best experience ever. It wasn't the worst either, but it feels a little bit too real. So if you have some good suggestions on some good comedies to watch, I would love that. I also like adult cartoons. I love Has Been Hotel. I feel like I've talked about that on this channel before. I love The Great North. I'm all caught up on that one. So give me your suggestions. I need something new to watch, but I can't decide what to watch. I also like anime. I keep giving you guys all of the suggestions of what I like to watch, but I also like anime. My favorites are Full Metal Alchemist and, of course, Avatar: The Last Airbender, if that counts as an anime. I don't think it does, but I like those styles of shows. So if you have some suggestions for me, please leave them in the comments because I feel like I have nothing left to watch. Now that the kids are back in school, I get to watch whatever I want all day. And so I've been watching a lot of stuff and now I feel like I'm out of things to watch. So give me all of your suggestions. Thanks. Okay, I'm about to go eat some lunch or brunch, I guess. But I thought I would check in with you first and show you where I've gotten. And of course, there's fuzz and hair attracted to this. But you can see that if you pick at it, the halo of yarn does come off pretty easily. That is the one con that I'm noticing so far for sure, because otherwise, this is so easy to work with. It is so soft. It has great stitch definition, as you can see. I will say that getting my tension right is not perfect. I do feel like you can see a little bit of gaps here and there. It's not quite as easy to get your tension right on this yarn as it would be on just like a basic acrylic yarn or something like that. But I do feel like it looks pretty good and it's pretty soft. I am just a few rounds away from finishing the top of the head, and then we'll just have to do the little eyes and arms. I do feel like it is a comparable size, or actually maybe a little bit bigger. We'll see once I finish up, but I do feel like it's a pretty comparable size. I made this one in Premier's. Just Chenille is the green and the white is Bernat Velvet. I feel like they're pretty similar size. This might be a little bit smaller. We will see once it's actually all done up. It'll be easier to tell. But I like the size of it. I like how easy it is to crochet with. I can't believe how quickly I'm actually just breezing through this. It's actually a really nice comparison to my last Will It On Me video, which was this t-shirt yarn that I hated. And I actually really like this. So I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm going to go eat and I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. I couldn't find Lily a second ago. And I was calling her and calling her. I was like, where is she? I was wanting her to come over here and sit by me. And I was calling her. She wasn't coming. Let me show you where she was. I'm not going to let you out there. No, you're just going to go try to eat it. No, you're not going out there to get that bunny. But anyways, I am almost done. I have all of the crocheting done. I cannot believe how quickly I am just like breezing through this one. I know that it's maybe not as fun to watch when I'm not struggling as much. I know you guys like to watch me when I'm like frustrated or struggling or trying to solve a problem, but I really did just kind of breeze through this one today. So I'm almost done. I just have to add the safety eyes, do the sewing, and I'll be done. I don't think I'm going to add the little strawberry on the top. I think I'm just going to make him just a plain little frog, but I cannot believe I'm almost done. So let's go ahead and finish this guy up. Okay, all I have left now is to give my frog a little facial expression, and I can't decide what I want to do. So for this one, I gave him like a little bit of a anxious look. He looks like he's a little bit nervous to be going out into space. But for our new friend, I cannot decide what kind of face I want to give him. Do I want to go just like traditional smile, like a little smirk, or do I want to like continue with the, you know, kind of blank expression or nervous expression? What would you do if it was your frog? What kind of face would you give him? I cannot decide. Also looking at him in comparison to this one, I'm like, he looks naked. It makes me want to give him some clothes, but I probably won't for this video. Maybe some other time I'll give him some clothes, but he does look quite naked compared to my little clothed astronaut. So anyways, I gotta go decide what kind of face I want to give my frog, and then we'll do the reveal and we'll talk about my final thoughts. So I'll see you there. think he is so adorable. I did give him this slightly disgruntled expression. Maybe he's sad because he didn't get clothes like his astronaut friend. Maybe he's sad because he's not going to space like his astronaut friend. I'm not sure. But it's just the facial expression that fit him the most. I tried a few different ones, and I just thought this one was the cutest. So let's talk some pros and cons of Bernat Fluffee yarn. So the first pro is that this yarn is so soft. I love how soft it felt in the skein, and I love that that translated over to how soft this little plushie is. It definitely does give that nice fluffy texture. It kind of reminds me of the Red Heart brushed yarn that we tried, or kind of like the Premier puzzle yarn that we tried, but even softer than either one of those. I think this might be the softest yarn we've tried so far that isn't a chenille or a velvet. Now, kind of going along with my first pro, my second pro is that you get this soft, fluffy texture without it being hard to see your stitches. I feel like it has great stitch definition. You can definitely see all your stitches and be able to count them. Now, is it quite as fluffy as a fur yarn? No, but it is way more beginner friendly. Now, if you've tried a fluffy fur yarn, then you know how hard it is to see your stitches. With this one, it's not hard to see your stitches at all, but you are able to get a nice soft plushie at the end, so I definitely love that. My third pro kind of goes along with that in that this is so easy to work with. It's easy to crochet with, it's easy to sew with. I had no problems. Now, I did have a little bit of snagging when my hook size was too small, so I was a little bit nervous right at first, like, oh my gosh, is this going to be snagging on my hook constantly? But it really isn't. And once you just find the right hook size and the right tension, you're golden. I feel like it was so easy to work with. I whipped this up in really just a couple of hours, and I was pretty impressed with that. So now let's talk cons. I just have a couple. Now the first one, and this is definitely personal preference, is that I don't really love the color range that this yarn comes in. Like I said, I'm not even sure why I bought this color to try out a plushie with. I do like it better worked up than I did just in the skein. I was a little bit worried when the yarn came in the mail and I was like, is this really the color that I chose? But I do think it looks cute as a little frog. But like I said, it's not a color that I'm normally attracted to. And looking through the color options, they're just not my own personal preference. And I also don't feel like they go together that well. I've said this before, but I love when a yarn line comes out and it's very obvious that the colors like go together. They tell like a nice color story. I love that. This one I'm a little bit confused about. I don't personally like it, but you might like it. And again, that's totally personal preference. I also know that this doesn't come in as many colors as I would like. I think I already mentioned this, but on the Joann website, there's only 8 different options. And then I think there's like up to 15 on different websites. But I was checking the Yarn Inspirations website, and it looked like a lot of them were already out of stock. Now, again, totally personal preference. You might like these colors, but it is a con for me personally. The biggest con for this yarn, in my opinion, is that this fuzziness of the yarn does shed, as you can see. Now, is it as bad as something like the Troy yarn from my sparkle yarn video, where it was literally disintegrating everywhere? No, it's not nearly as bad as that. But I would be cautious about giving this to a very small child that is going to put this in their mouth, because I feel like it could be... Did you guys see that? The fuzz went in my face. Anyways, as I was saying, this yarn could be a little bit of a choking hazard because this fuzz does definitely come off. Now, this guy is just going to sit on my shelf, and maybe my 8 and 11-year-old will play with it. And I'm not really worried about it too much with older kids. But for little ones, I do feel like it could be a little bit of a choking hazard. So I would keep that in mind. I will say, though, that the shedding was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was really worried at first that it was going to be a situation where when I was trying to sew with it, it would get like fuzz flying everywhere. And it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like I said, though, if you do pick at it, it will come apart. You know, it's just one of those types of yarns that has the halo to it. And if you don't like a yarn that has a halo to it, you're not going to like this yarn. It's definitely not going to be for you. But for me, I do like the fluffy fuzziness of this yarn, just not something that I would personally give to a baby. So will Bernat Fluffee yarn awe me? Yes, it definitely will. And you'll get a nice fluffy guy out of it. but will I be repurchasing it? I'm unsure. Like I said, I don't really love the colors that this comes in, so I don't necessarily see myself reaching for it anytime soon. But if I had a project in mind, I definitely wouldn't shy away from it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the rest of this skein of yarn. Maybe just make a whole army of frogs, because it does make a very, very cute frog. But like I said, I'm not really sure why I got this color, because I feel like it doesn't really go with the rest of my collection that well. It definitely doesn't go with my house that well in terms of making home decor with it. So I'm not sure what I am going to be using it for. If you have any suggestions, be sure to let me know. You'll have to let me know what you thought about today's video. Have you tried this yarn yet? Have you seen it at your local craft store and been curious? You'll have to let me know what you thought about my cute little frog. Do you like his grumpy expression? I have been liking to give different types of expressions to my amigurumi lately. I think it's a really fun way to give them a little bit of personality, but you'll have to let me know what type of facial expression you would have chosen. If you did like today's video, be sure to hit the like button. You can subscribe, stick around. Let me know what other kind of videos you want to see next. You can follow me on Instagram, which is The Faded Wildflower. You can also check out my Etsy shop where I sell patterns as well as custom plushies. You can also check out my Ko-fi where I have my patterns as well as a little tip jar if you appreciate my content. And thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time.